What's up, guys? This is Franco from Corvette Garage. Just want to give you guys a few updates on what's been going on with the C5. So I took it to my tuner last week, Monday, I believe it was. Yes, it was last Monday, and he had it for not very long. He called me and said he did 2 pulls and the stock injectors maxed out. So it maxed out at 5,200 RPM, I believe he said. So I had to buy new fuel injectors. So this is a note for you guys that own a 99 through 2000 C5, any model, whether it's the fixed roof coupe, hardtop, or a regular coupe. 99 and 2000 come with 26-pound injectors. So I just have long tube headers, exhaust, cam. I have the zip tie mod. I don't even have a full air intake. And my cam isn't very big either. It's if you saw my other videos, it's a 228, 230 with a 585 lift and a 112 LSA. And it maxed out the fuel injectors. They were past capacity, you know. And so I ended up buying injectors. I ended up going with fuel injectors from Fuel Injector Connection. So these are 42-pound injectors, and these are 42-pound at 58 psi for LS1 or LS6, and they're matched. So when you buy here's the website for anyone that's interested. Fuel Injector Connection, and they give you this nice box. But anyways, so on the injectors, I called these guys. They were recommended on the forum, and I actually have a few friends that have these injectors on their Corvettes, even on their ZR1s, the older ZR1s, the C4s. And these guys know their stuff. They'll send you a flow and data sheet, so you can give that to your tuner, make life a lot easier for them, and match. And they're matched, so you don't need any adapters or anything for these injectors. You just buy them and plug them right in. They drop right in, no modifications. They're just like the stock ones, but these are 42 pounds, so they have 36 and 42 pound. I went with the 42 pound because for starters they were the same price, and second, if I decide to go, I'm still going to put heads on this car and do a few other things. I'm not going to go forced induction or anything like that, but you could actually run nitrous with these injectors as well, and it'll support them. So that's one of the issues I had. That was just with the tuner, so I'm going to put these in and take it back to the tuner probably next week. Another thing was I had all kinds of lights come on. My cluster looked like a Christmas tree. So one of the big deals, this is if you're doing, this is anytime you remove that steering rack, because I know a lot of guys do the balancer as well. So when you remove that steering rack, before you do it, you got to pull the steering shaft out. Make sure you mark it, and you do not turn the steering wheel. Keep the steering wheel straight, maybe get a rope and tie it to the shifter or whatever. This is in any automatic or 6-speed car, and this is in any C5. I don't know about C6, I think it's the same as C6, but for sure C5s. I kept getting the traction control system warming up signal, and then it would go to an service engine soon light, and that was driving me crazy. So I went on the forum, did some research. I had the C1283 code, and traced it, and that's not on the code book either. If you look up the codes, it's not in there. But what it is it's not sensing the steering wheel centered after, I forgot how long, 40 seconds of driving or whatever it is. So what that means is if that happens to you and you put the steering shaft back into the rack, that means you didn't put it in when it was centered. When I mean centered, I don't mean, it's pretty easy to center it because the steering shaft, the shaft that comes out of the steering rack is squared, so it's easy to put it in if you mark it. But what happened to me is I remembered when I put it back together, I had to think back. I believe it turned because the steering wheel is heavy, so it was turned to one side, and I think I just spun it with my hands from inside the engine compartment and then stuck it on. So what ended up happening was I went one full turn off, and so what we did is we got our, there's a procedure. It's on the C5 forum. If you guys want to know it, just put it in the comments, and I'll get you the link or whatever. I'll tell you how to do it. I ended up taking the dashboard, not the dashboard, the some of the compartments under the dashboard apart to get to the steering sensor. And then I ended up putting my multimeter in there, and you know, a friend of mine turned the wheel. We figured it out that way, and we centered it. It has to be between 2.3 and 2.7 volts. You'll see it when you look up the procedure on how to do it. So that was the other thing. And another thing I did was I ended up putting titanium exhaust out of a C5, and I did the bypass mod, which is called the TI mod, or the bypass mod. It was hard to find a welder here in San Diego that welds titanium. I think there was only 2 guys that I found, and what ended up happening was I went with one guy that's been doing it for quite a while, and he's done quite a few systems. It's called 74 Weld, the number 74, and then Weld. He's in Lakeside, at the very tip of Lakeside where it ends, right off the 8. So I had him do it, and let me try to get a picture of that, or a video or whatever, so you can see it. So I went with this. There, it's kind of hard. Sorry for the lighting. So this is a C5 titanium exhaust, the Z06 exhaust, and then kind of hard to see. Let me get a light over here so you guys can see better. Alright, so try to get under there. So there's the mod that's done, and believe it or not, this car sounds so much better with this exhaust than my MagnaFlow. Here's the MagnaFlow. I mean, don't get me wrong, the MagnaFlow system is stout. This thing's built very, very good. Here's the center little emblem that goes in the middle of the plate. I mean, even this thing's heavy. This is a very good system. I recommend the system. If you don't want a lot of noise, I recommend the MagnaFlow XL system. It's very quiet. It's actually quieter than stock. It's got a good rumble when you at wide open throttle, and it's easy to put together. It doesn't have the pipes that go over the axle. It does, but they come together at the muffler, not like the stock Z06 exhaust, which is a nightmare to get over the axle. I had it done at a shop because I wasn't going to raise a car 50 inches or whatever it is in the air. I don't want to kill myself. So I took it to a shop. They did it for dirt cheap. And I also had the Corsa, a brand new Corsa X pipe that was given to me from the guy who I bought the C5 TI mufflers from. So that was a bonus. Got that for free. That's like a $400 pipe right there. So I had him put that in as well. So there's the other pipes for the MagnaFlow. There's the X for the MagnaFlow. The MagnaFlow system's really good. It's full 2.5 inch. Even the pipes coming out to the tips. The tips are 4 inch, and then the tailpipes are they're actually 2.5 inch. The ones on the Z06 titanium, excuse me, those are not. I think they're 2 inch, and then they shrink down to like a 1.8 or whatever it is. I mean, but it sounds so much better. So next thing, injectors are going to go in probably tomorrow, and then I'm going to bring the car hopefully back to the tuner on Monday, and I'll get you guys. So for numbers for now, go ahead and take your guess for numbers. So this is a 2000 Corvette hardtop, 6-speed. They all only came in 6-speed hardtop. It's got a zip tie mod, long tube headers. It's got a Corsa X pipe, Z06 exhaust bypass. It's got an LS6 intake, and then it's got the cam, the 228, 230, 585, 585, 112 LSA cam, and it's got dual valve springs. Stock 853 heads, not ported. Everyone tells me I'll make about 380 to 400. I think I'll make 380. I don't think I'll make 400. But for reference, it made 355 horsepower, rear wheel horsepower, at 5,200 RPM, and it made 353 torque at 5,200 RPM, I believe. I think that's when he stopped. So I'm now going to leave you with a clip of what the car sounds like. The car's not fully cold right now, so this isn't really a cold start. It's actually still kind of warm. It's been turned off for about 3 hours, maybe. And I'm going to leave you with a clip of what the TI exhaust sounds like. If you check out my other videos, you'll see what the MagnaFlow system sounded like before the cam, and then there's one after the cam, and then